All right, day one of Celtics camp is in the books. Abby Chin and Marc D'Amico here to talk to you about everything that went down, all the players who we spoke to. Joe Mazzulla spoke to the media today. A little bit different than what we heard yesterday on Media Day, so here we go. Abby, the first thing out of the books that I was taking away from these guys talking to the media today is that it's a little bit unexpected that they're not hitting the ground from scratch here. It sounds like so many people and so many of these players have been around the facility starting back in like early August, including the new players, that they already understand the language. They already understand what Joe said is a shell of their identity has already been established. That stuff was pre-existing before they even hit today's day one camp. What do you take away from that? Because I thought that they were going to be starting from scratch today.
Well, that is something that I took away from day one in Media Day, and all of these guys talking about how long they've been here, the brotherhood and the chemistry that is already building amongst this group that does have a lot of new faces. But you're right, today, the first official day of training camp, the first real practice time that they've gotten in, and there's no question there was an elevated level of intensity. Everyone that we spoke to talked about just how fast things were going. We'll hear from them, but Luka Garza and Xavier Tillman both. I mean, Luka came over and spoke with the media almost immediately after practice, and he was still clearly winded, Mark. He was like,
he was dripping
he was
sweat.
Breathing heavy. Yeah, he was bending over. He's like, give me a minute. And I think that that's exciting when we think about this team this season and the way that they want to play. And Joe Mazzulla is implementing that from day one.
Yeah, and Joe hasn't exactly told us what that shell of an identity is, right? He used that term today, and I'm like, what is that shell? What is that identity that they're trying to establish? But we have heard from the players starting yesterday and then transporting into today as well that these guys do want to play fast. And when we're talking about fast, it's not just like running up and down the court. It's basically what they said today is like the second we cross half court, we want to be moving. I think it was X, actually. I think Xavier Tillman actually told us that look at it as like a NASCAR pit stop where like everything is just grinding, everything is moving. It doesn't take very long. That's what their offense is supposed to be looking like this year. What do you take from that?
Which should be really fun. I did ask X, and today was kind of a front court day where we spoke to the bigs. I asked X what that pace, what it means for the bigs. And he said, oh, we're running. And we're also really involved in all of the plays. So everything takes place at midcourt and starts there. It's about setting the right screens, getting guys open, making sure that you are facilitating to put guys in the right positions, a la Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Peyton Pritchard.
And maybe Sam Hauser, who knows this year. Maybe he does some playmaking. But, yeah, so we heard about that identity, that might be what it is, the shell of the identity.
I want to say, though, that Joe cleared up on Media Day. Jordan Walsh
caused let's
a bit of a stir, saying that they wanted to play a little
massive
hockey
substitutions,
style, full line substitutions, 5 in and 5 out. Joe said that is not happening. Not sure that's even possible. So
I can't remember who asked the question today.
Yes.
But
it was quickly. It was the
Joe
second
stopped the
right
middle
out
of the
gate.
question, and he was like, just to let you know, Jordan was messing with you guys yesterday when he said that. So that is not happening. He's not substituting 5 players in, sending 5 to the bench. Maybe he was doing that during scrimmages for the last month and a half.
Maybe it feels like that for the players, too.
Yeah. So that's not happening, all right? These guys are going to...
Just to be clear.
Normal substitution patterns. But, yeah, so we talked about that identity that the Celtics might be establishing for this year. Who knows if that's what actually happens. We're going to see games coming up soon.
Don't you think, based on the roster that they have and the depth where it is in the backcourt specifically, that's kind of the way they need to play? Mark.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of guards. They've got a lot of scoring, a lot of perimeter scoring.
Yes.
So, yeah, that is the strength of the team. And the unknown of the team is that front court, right? Like some of these guys, I mean, Xavier, we saw him last season, didn't really play up to a lot of people's expectations, probably his own expectations, and we'll get into that in a minute. Luka Garza has never had the opportunity to play, substantial minutes in a significant role on a team. So Neemias Queta, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Has he played for the Celtics? Sure, but was he a top 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 in the rotation? No, he hasn't had that opportunity yet either. So all of these guys, it's a little bit of an unknown, and we're going to find out what that looks like here starting with preseason games starting up soon. But as you said, it was a front court day. We talked to Luka Garza. We talked to Xavier Tillman. These guys had some very interesting things to say, and the first thing that we got to point out is what Luka Garza had to say about his first experience here in Boston. Take a listen to what he had to say today.
I'm always just a curious learner, so I'm always open to new things, new structures or new mindsets of how they do things. And so I think here is definitely the most detailed place I've been in terms of a lot of the things we do is just the structure is a lot more detailed, and I love that. And so it's been a lot of fun to kind of be here.
So you heard it right there from the source. Luka Garza, first day of training camp practice with the Celtics. He's been around here for a while. We saw him out of Summer League and whatnot, but he basically said it is different here, right? He can kind of confirm what we all say, but on the practice court, it's different. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that was my question. I asked him just how steep the learning curve is coming to an entirely new organization and having to pick up everything from the jump. And this is his third stop in the NBA, drafted by Detroit, as he mentioned, and then going to Minnesota. And to hear him say that this is the most detailed. And I think that we kind of saw that with the group last year and the championship winning team, but those are veteran players. So it's interesting to hear that that is still the case with this new bunch of players, a lot of new faces, and that is still the standard that is being set and what is demanded of these guys when they're on the floor.
Listen, anyone who comes to the Celtics and then goes somewhere else, right? You and I keep in touch with them when they come back to TD Garden. We get to catch up with them for a little while. Basically, 100% of those players do confirm that it's different here. Yeah. And part of that right now, it's, you got the fans and the environment and the atmosphere and all that stuff. But what we're talking about right now that's different is actually what happens here on this court behind us and behind the walls behind us where these guys are doing training and they're being kept up with their physical therapy, and over here in the weight room to our left. Like, the structure that is in place is different here than it is around the league, and that's exactly what Luka said right there. Different right from the get-go, and now he understands it, and hopefully that sets these guys up for success this season. So very interesting to hear him say that on day one.
Josh Minot mentioned something to those lines as well.
Why not
yesterday.
Minot?
Why not
I love
Minot?
that.
Just about he's learning new basketball concepts, which for someone who's
been in the league for a while, yeah.
I mean, I think that that's pretty interesting, and it just goes to show how much work Joe and his staff are putting in every day, but also just the technical aspects of it. We hear so much about Joe and his relationship and how he is able to connect with each player individually and put so much time into that, but there's also a basis in X's and O's and fundamentals and coaching that I think just sets Joe apart.
This is the year for him to show that, in my opinion, right? The last couple of years, as you said, like stacked with talent. Everyone thought the Celtics were winning just because of the talent. All right, this year we get to see just how good of a coach Joe Mazzulla is, because everyone can't deny that talent level has dropped, and now he's going to be coaching his butt off to make sure these guys surpass expectations.
But I think that those are the type of teams that Boston's fans and Celtics Nation that we attach to the most, is those guys who surpass expectations, and also really the sum of the parts is so much greater than the individuals. That's so fun to watch and to be a part of.
New lead owner Bill Chisholm just said that last week, right? Yeah. Like, he loved those Isaiah Thomas teams that surpassed expectations.
Those first few seasons under Brad Stevens.
Amazing.
Yeah. Do you remember the Stees? Jordan Crawford.
Oh, God,
Starting point guard. One player of the week under Brad Stevens. Those kind of things.
Amazing.
They're so fun as they're happening.
Like the Stees. No, I forgot the nickname.
And meanwhile, the Celtics still competing for the postseason.
Exactly.
And a championship.
It's going to happen this season. They're going to make the postseason. All right, so let's get over to the other front court piece that we spoke to today. Xavier Tillman, you and I were talking off camera before we started here about how surprising it was to hear some of the things that he was saying. Like, he was not healthy last year, and none of us knew because he wasn't playing very much. Yep. And basically what he told us today is that even if the team needed him to play that much last year, he wouldn't have been able to do it because his knee was swelling up so often. What were your takeaways from what he had to say about his health last season and then how he's feeling now?
Yeah, he was the first to mention that last year was very disappointing for him, just from a playing time standpoint. But he detailed for us just it was a bit of a chicken and egg situation, and that left knee started bothering him in January. He said he got an injection then that was a little bit helpful, but it just kept nagging and bothering him. And so we got another injection in March, and he said that has been life-changing. It really hasn't bothered him as much since he's recovered since then. So I am really interested to see what that means for him, especially if the Celtics are playing faster, which is where we started. So he's going to have to be very mobile on that knee, but then also what that can do for his confidence, that he hasn't had any sort of setbacks with that, and he is able to be out on the floor, is able to be out in the gym, practicing, putting in the reps, putting in the time so that he can feel comfortable when he does get that playing time and those opportunities finally.
Yeah, and by the way, what he said today about that knee is that even last year, being injured and that knee hurting him, like it impacted his ability to practice. Like he wasn't as good
Absolutely.
last year as he expected to be because he didn't get any momentum going forward of being able to put in the work every day on the floor.
Which
now
is
he can do that.
So important for that stay ready group
Mm-hmm.
because you have to be able to work to show the coaches that you are ready, to give them the confidence to put you in when the time comes.
So now he's changed his diet, right?
Yes.
He told me yesterday, or he told us on the desk, he said, this is my new dad bod. I'm down 12 pounds. I'm eating healthy. Today he said it's chicken and rice, it's salmon and rice,
That's
it's all
really
the healthy
boring,
stuff, the superfoods.
unfortunately.
Boring,
Yep.
but it's helping him. And he
Yep.
said he feels a whole lot better and he's ready to roll this season. So we heard from Luka Garza. We heard from our good friend Xavier Tillman. Those are two of the front court guys. Actually, Sam Hauser, I heard today from Xavier that Sam Hauser is calling these guys the Buffaloes when they work out because they're so jacked and stacked. These guys are big dudes. So
This is going to be a battle for the preseason.
It
That is
is.
something that I am most excited about and looking forward to in the 4 preseason games is seeing the rotation of those 3 guys along with Neemias Queta. And so far, Luka told us today, it has been, I mean, the competition is high. And they understand each one of those guys is competing for a starting opportunity with the Boston Celtics, and they are playing like that in practice.
Abby, what would you do if you saw a buffalo running your way?
Run away. That actually, okay, this is a side note.
I don't know where we're going now.
I was just in Ohio for a family wedding.
Okay.
My mom lives in Ohio. They have a African safari for some reason that you can drive through and feed the animals out of your window. One section had buffalo. And it is frightening. So yeah.
So you have experience.
I
is
have
what you're
experience.
saying.
I literally was
So she's running
away from driving away from a buffalo.
I'm running away too.
Within the last week, I'm running.
Buffaloes
so
are
fast.
huge. They are physical, and I think that's exactly what Sam Hauser's trying to say about these guys. So hopefully that's what we see out of these guys when they take the court for the first preseason game coming up next week. But for now, that's day 1 of training camp in the books.
excited for
For
back.
Abby Chin, I'm Marc D'Amico. We'll be back with you on Friday.